Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ivy Manor Music Show. This is your host, Mr. Brian Goff, bar manager here at Henry Hotels in beautiful Bar Harbor, Maine. I also handle all the live entertainment at our incredible outdoor venue, the Ivy Manor Inn, located at 194 Main Street, downtown Bar Harbor. I am super excited for this next musical guest to join the Ivy Manor Music Show. He was signed to the active roster as of last year. He just finished his first full season with us at the Ivy Manor Inn. He is a live looping musician, and we'll get into what all that means in just a few moments. I couldn't be more fired up to have Takoda Dionne join the Ivy Manor Music Show. Takoda, how are you?
Good. How
Good
are
to
you?
hear. I'm doing great. Welcome to the show. Good to see you again. And I've got a number of things I want to get right into, so let's go right for it. Takoda, first thing I'd like you to do is tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how old you are, what grade you are in school right now, what school you go to, and also where you're from as well.
Well, my name is Takoda Dionne. I'm 16. I'm a junior in high school, so I still have homework to do, and along with my music. I go to MDI, and we originally were on the island, then we moved away for a little bit. Then my family moved back around like 7, 8 years ago. So we've been here since.
Very
And
cool. Where did you move to when you left MDI?
we moved down to the Southport area, then to Booth Bay, that general area. Then we moved back to Bar Harbor.
Now, were you old enough when you to remember that you made that move to Booth Bay Harbor?
Uh, I don't really remember the move to Booth Bay. I remember the move from Southport to Booth Bay, but yeah, it was like when I was 2 or something like that.
Awesome. Well, it must be nice to be back home. It seems like you're very comfortable in your surroundings here at MDI. So, welcome back, and it's great to have you and your family back on the island. You just mentioned it. You're still in school. You've still got homework to do. How much time a week do you spend playing music, Dakota? And does it get tricky balancing school and following your passion in music?
Yeah, it does. I Since music is something I want to do in the future as my like career, I do spend a lot of time practicing. I've like some days I spend like a couple hours maybe doing music. Some days I don't do as much. Some days I have other things to do, projects in school, or like I've done show choir, so that takes up time. But I try to do some music every day, and yeah.
On average, how many hours are you spending playing music on any given week?
A total of a week or like every day.
Yeah, per day.
Um, it can be mm, it can be probably on the short days. It can be like 20, 30 minutes. Other days it could be 2 hours, two and a half, maybe three, depending on how I'm feeling.
No doubt. Now, you just said it. You're 16 years old. Um, when did you first pick up the guitar, Dakota? And what was that moment or chain of events where you thought to yourself, this is my passion, this is my interest, and this is what I want to do in the future?
So I kind of dabbled in music. We have a couple of videos of me just like kind of strumming on the guitar when I was pretty young, or the ukulele. But I didn't actually pick up guitar to like really learn it. Probably sixth grade, I think, the summer of sixth grade. So that would be about, I don't know, four, almost 4.5. I don't know, something like that. 4 years ago, and then I it I my inspiration, one of my biggest inspirations is Ed Sheeran. I picked up guitar after seeing him looping, which because he's another looper, that was a big inspiration for me. Um, yeah, I love the instrument too, just the kind of the beauty of the instrument, and it just made me want to play it, and
No
I
doubt.
snowballed.
Well, I don't know if you've known this before, but hearing your shows at the Ivy Manor Inn all last year, I do see that you like to incorporate some Ed Sheeran songs into your set list. I've nicknamed you Ed Sheeran Jr. That's about how I describe to you, folks that have never seen you play before, and it certainly perks up their interest because they love Ed so much. Um, it makes me think that, your musical talent came before Ed Sheeran. From what I know about your parents, both your mother and father both have a background in music and have played some sort of music in their lifetime as well. Tell us a little bit the talents from a musical standpoint that your mom and both your father both have.
They um they both have played music. They've both sang. Neither have been like professional musicians, but they have enjoyed it, and I had a lot of support to follow my passion of music, and that's been really helpful to get me out there. I still don't have a driver's license, so they help drive me to gigs or open mics, and so that's been really helpful. Um, but yeah, they just love playing at home, and they've done a couple like open mics before, but yeah.
Now, are they guitar players as well? Do they play other instruments? Are they singers? What do they do?
Both of my parents sing. My mom plays ukulele, a version of it like baritone ukulele, and my dad plays guitar, and he sings and like has dabbled in other instruments and all that.
Very, very cool. Sounds like they passed some of those talents down to you. That's for darn sure. You just mentioned it. They drive you to open mics. Sounds like that's where you got your start. That's where you and I met at a year ago at one of these open mics. Um, it seems to me it would take a great deal of courage and guts to get up in an open mic type of environment where you're now playing music in front of a crowd of people. When was that moment in your life when you were practicing where you felt like you were ready to take that leap and attend one of these open mics and play your music in front of a big group of people?
Um, my first open mic was at Fogtown Brewing Company in Ellsworth. It was on in July of 2023, if I remember correctly, and it was a thing where in the previous weeks leading up to it, it was kind of like we want to go to an open mic, get me out there, because I'd done like school jams and stuff where there's like you can perform, but it's more so a private kind of thing where there's just people from school. Um, but it was I was nervous to get up there, but I kind of just blocked it out a little bit and just went with it. But that was the first time. And then I started going to them regularly, and then that kind of again snowballed to my first gig at Fogtown. So that's it's
So
been
Fogtown was like the first actual paid gig you ever played.
yes. It was actually on Halloween. I was opening for another band, The Wayside.
Very cool. Now, in that first open mic that you played in your entire life, how many songs did you play, Takoda? And do you remember what songs they were?
I believe I played three songs. They were. I think I played Train Station, which is one of my original songs. I believe. Oh man, I'm. I think I played Where the Flowers Grow, which is another one of my songs, which you may hear later. Um, and then it was. I think it was another Ed Sheeran song. It was either like Castle on the Hill or Shape of You.
Very, very cool. Ed Sheeran, you said, is your biggest inspiration. Are there any other inspirations or influences that wanted to make you become a musician? And have you ever seen Ed Sheeran perform live in concert?
I have seen him perform live in concert. I went to down in Massachusetts at the Gillette Stadium. There are I've had multiple inspirations, of course, like drawing from other like a bunch of different genres, whatever. Um, I go through kind of phases of music, especially in the past, of listening to like a genre or like a band or something. I went through a phase of Chris Cornell, and I drew from that. He's a great singer, great guitar player. I went through a phase of Nirvana. Then I went back to Ed Sheeran after a while. Shawn Mendes has also been an inspiration. Pearl Jam. Uh, those are the ones off the top of my head that are coming to mind. But it's been just like whatever I listen to from day to day because I get bored of songs and then I move on to the next one.
Definitely. A lot of those musicians you just mentioned, I've certainly listened to in my lifetime. Um, I get into Pearl Jam back in the early 90s, way before you were even born. What I know about Chris Cornell was he was in the band Soundgarden. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, how does a young fellow like yourself get into this type of music that was released well over 30 years ago, and here you are incorporating into your live show?
Well, my dad loved the music. Some Pearl Jam songs were kind of my lullabies to go to sleep when I was a young kid. So he sang them to me. Uh, then in recent years, he was listening to it, so I listened to it, and then I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool, and then I've since learned songs to play them out because they're great.
No doubt. Pearl Jam's certainly one of my all-time favorite bands. I've seen them perform live at least 3 or 4 times in my lifetime. Certainly, some of their songs are some of my favorite songs of all time. I certainly love that rendition of Black that you do by Pearl Jam. That's been one of my favorite songs since it ever came out, which I believe was the year 1992. And it's a great song when it doesn't get old and you're still listening to that in the year 2025, that's for sure. You mentioned it earlier, you are a live looping musician, just like your guitar hero Ed Sheeran is. Is Ed responsible for you wanting to become a live looping musician?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. And how does one get the equipment to be a looper? And could you please tell our listeners out there that have no idea what a live looping musician is?
Yeah. So first off, what a looper is uh, it has multiple forms, but the way I what I have is it's a guitar or a vocal pedal that you can plug either a guitar or a vocal mic into, and you can record a section of music that you play into it. Then you can stop that recording and it can instantly play back to become an extra sound in the music that you're putting out. And then you can overdub over that, which means you can record again and again to create kind of a wall of sound or just a tasteful mix of um, music. So it can really add to your performance. You can have multiple tracks, whatever, which means that you can turn off one or the other while the other ones keep playing, and it gives you a lot of like options and variability throughout a song, and it can add to the overall performance. As to getting the pedals, you can find them online, whatever, at guitar stores and stuff like that. I got my first looper for a Christmas present. It was like a two-track looper, so it was pretty simple. It was, yeah, but
So that got
that's
you started there for sure. Um, where I'm standing, it looks like there's a lot going on with all this looping. Uh, from an innocent bystander, to me, it looks very complicated. Here you are surrounded by instruments and microphones. Um, I notice how you build the song. You'll put a chorus into one microphone. You'll then hustle over to your keyboard and play a couple of notes there. You're now adding riffs from your guitar. You're pressing buttons. You're turning knobs. You're hitting switches with your feet. Quite frankly, I don't know how you do it, but it does look very, very cool why you're doing it. It's really kind of hard to explain all that goes into it. Is there any platform where folks could see all this looping and all this stuff you're doing at one of your shows online, perhaps?
yes. I have a YouTube channel, which just recently I put out a three-song kind of set from the Ivy Manor, and it's on YouTube. My channel is just my name, Takoda Dionne, um, and it's just a simple thing, spelling. But
Very, very, very cool. Now, how many different sounds would go in any particular song that you could put out? Because again, where I'm standing, what I'm hearing, it's one person up there, but it sounds like a full band.
for sounds that you can put into a loop, they're for like direct guitar signal without adding like an effect to it or anything. You can, I guess I can kind of show. You can add some kind of like bass drum kind of sound on that, maybe like a snare here doing this, and both of those can add the drums to the song. Um, Other than there's just like a rhythm guitar part you can add to it. You can add some kind of lead part, like a melody kind of line, and you can record all that, bringing me in and out of the song. You can also record into like a mic, then have like harmonies and stuff to add into the loop. You can also, because I have a bass pedal on my board, which means that I can turn it on and it will make my guitar sound like a bass, which adds the bass line into the mix, which helps to create the full kind of sound.
Very, very cool. Now, you said it earlier, Ed was your inspiration. He's a great looper himself. Are there any other loopers out there in the music world who you look up to or you've learned from? And the second part question is, I know we have a couple other loopers who perform at the Ivy Manor Inn. Right off the top of my head, you have the great Travis Patterson from the band Quiet for Sue, and also newly signed acquisition last year, Mr. Corey Fong. It seems like you loopers are in a tight-knit community, and you like to talk shop and exchange ideas and techniques and things of that nature. Would you say that's pretty accurate?
Yeah, there's a lot of like techie side of it and like the deep dive that you can do into it. So yeah.
No doubt. It's fun to watch. Keep up the great work. I can't wait to hear some of your new songs at the Ivy Manor Inn in the upcoming season. That is for sure. Um, Mom and Dad play a big role, not only in your life, but you as a musician. From where I'm standing, it looks like both play a big role on gig days as well. Seems like Mom is the de facto booking manager, if you will. She's got that big, notepad where she's writing in dates and taking care of all that. And the business side, she's also handling all your merchandise and the concession area as well. Both are helping you get to and from gigs. As you just said, you don't have that license quite yet, so one of them has to be responsible for bringing you to and from. Dad seems like he's wearing a lot of hats. I just had Griffin Graves on here not too long ago. His dad plays a big role in his production, but I see some of the same things that your dad's doing, that Ron Graves is doing, and that your dad is basically working as the sound check guy. He is the guy that handles all the filming for these great shows that go up on YouTube and all your other platforms. He's helping, reload and unload equipment. He's doing a lot of things up there. Talk about you both parents a little bit and the big roles that they play in your musical journey as a musician.
So I'll start off with my mom. My mom kind of has, uh, of course, the driving and everything, and helps with the like coming up with new songs to learn, and like if she hears something, can suggest it to me, and has helped book more shows for this year at multiple places, and just been encouraging and supportive and gives feedback, and which has helped me grow as a musician and kind of progress my journey. My dad has done a lot. He helps at all the shows. He helps like lug the stuff in and out of the car, out of the house, to the show, setting up, um, and also again helps with song suggestions and stuff like that. Yeah, he's helped give me the tools to create music, which has been very, very helpful and very good.
Absolutely. From where I'm standing, it's very noticeable. And like Griffin's parents, without them, you're probably not where you are right now. So a big shout out to Jess and Brian, mom and dad. Um, I talked a little bit earlier about this concession and merchandise area that your mother runs during these shows. I've noticed a lot of different things that folks can buy. I've seen T-shirts, I've seen wristbands, I've seen all sorts of things. Can you get into a little bit more detail on what are some of the things that folks could buy at this merchandise and concession area that your mother runs during your show?
Yeah. Right now there are T-shirts and stickers. Those are the two main things. Besides like a business card, but that's not really much. Those are the two main things that you can purchase. There may be more added this year. We'll see. Um, I'm going to possibly, yeah, I have some pics over there that have my little logo on them, so they may be up for grabs as they come off my stand pick holder. So we'll see about that. But
Now, in terms of attire at your shows, I have noticed one consistent detail in terms of what you're wearing at these shows. And this is a pair of signature red Chuck Taylor low cut sneakers. Um, what went in the decision to wear these shoes? There they are. What inspired that? And may these Chuck Taylors, who are taking on a life of their own, be part of this merchandise and concession stand in the future.
the last part, I do not know. We'll see, maybe. They came to be because I think originally it was the only color in the size that they had, so I got those. And then I wore them out, and that was kind of just a thing that I wore because they have a flatter bottom for on the shoe to like press the pedals, so it's easier to land them, and it's really important as a looper to hit them right because the timing is everything. So if you get a little bit off, it'll ruin the whole looping. Um, but they also kind of draw a little bit of attention to my feet because they're red, so they stand out. They're not just like a plain shoe. So we'll see how it goes in the future. Maybe I'll like, branch out a little bit with different things, but something kind of, I don't know, like, yeah, something you notice on my feet will probably be there.
Absolutely. A lot of people are talking about it. It's very noticeable that this has become part of your show. And I've seen some folks as the season went on start to wear. I don't know that they were necessarily red, but I certainly saw this style of shoe being worn by folks that were attending your show. I don't know if it was coincidental or not, but it seems like people are really taking to it in a positive way. And yeah, I think it's a great idea to potentially add this to part of your concession, because I think folks would buy it up and support you in that regard as well. I think you broke 2 records last year at the Ivy Manor Inn. One of those records was you performed a gig on the coldest day of the year. The second record that you broke, I think you performed on the hottest day of the year. First, the coldest day, I do believe, was 46 degrees that day. The hottest day was certainly well into its 90s, so you're at 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. I know your dad has a little bit of a background in coaching. He was a football coach at one point. You certainly have to be tough to play the game of football, that's for sure. Do you think Dad's coaching and that toughness that he instilled with you helped you get through that gig that day? Because that's not an easy thing to do, and a lot of our musicians that I have on the roster simply wouldn't put themselves out there because they couldn't perform the show that they wanted to.
Yeah, I think that's helped. Just the mindset of you're gonna do it and whatever, and it's just a thing you have to kind of deal with and push through that to get the show done and have a good performance.
I think I noticed some hand warmers in the pockets after each song. Hands went in there for 15, 20 seconds, kind of keep that blood flowing in the fingers. You got through it. It was cold. We had fires lit. I think about 30 people showed up that day. It was an early part of the season. So, yeah, that was a tough day all the way around, but I know the 30 people that showed up had a great time. That is for sure. The second day, just talked about, hot day in the 90s. Looked like Mom was running up cold lemonades and waters between each song. Had to have been hot. It was hot from where I was standing. Folks were just sitting there, being overheated, if you will. Here you are up on stage, and you're performing a live show. A lot of movement, a lot of strumming strings, a lot of singing, a lot of moving. What was it like going from the coldest day of the year to just a couple months later, you're playing the hottest day of the year?
It was an experience of that different change. The heat was something, it doesn't mess with your playing with, because your hands are very important to hit the notes right. So that was a lot better in the heat. Sweating something, but yeah, heat is not great because it's just, I don't know, I never feel great in the heat sometimes, but it's better than the cold because you can actually play the music. The sun, there's some trees in the ivy which has helped to minimize the heat, but it's just something you have to push through that and then play the show.
No doubt. You talked about your set list earlier. You get input and help and feedback from Mom and Dad in terms of this set list, plus your own thoughts and ideas. I've seen you play literally every show at the Ivy Manor Inn over the last 6 months last year. Seems like the set list changes up a little bit. I don't think I've ever heard the same set in the same order twice. You seem to pick up songs very quickly when you're out there practicing on your own from a week-to-week basis. New songs are added. Some songs are excluded. Take me through the process of writing a set list for any one of these shows, Takoda, and the ideas and input that you get from Mom and Dad that help you with creating this list.
Yes. First, my mom and dad, they kind of just if there's any new songs I should add to learn, they help with that. They also help with in general writing it. We try to make sure that there's like a fast or an exciting song, other than a slower song, and like maybe sadder or like just less upbeat. And have a mix. Sometimes there's like a couple in a row. Sometimes there's other things like that. But it's trying to make sure that there's variability in all the music, and there's like a change. Um, it's in We try to, every time the show is a little bit different. Sometimes there's basically the same songs, maybe with one or two couple different, but they're always kind of like in a different order. So it's just a little bit of a different show to just give a little bit of a different experience. So
Very, very cool. Looks like you're having a lot of fun up there. Um, I saw show number one. I saw the last show you performed at the Ivy Manor Inn to end the 2024 season. As a young musician, you seem to get better and better and better. Each show adds a little twist, and yeah, the growth that you've had in year one is absolutely incredible. Um, my question to you, Takoda, is tell our listeners a little bit about your experiences playing the Ivy Manor Inn over the full season last year, and what makes it so enjoyable playing there, because it looks like you're having a lot of fun up there.
yes, it's really fun. I enjoy it because it's like outside. It gives the ability to have like the fresh air just come through. It's right next to the sidewalk, so it's nice to see people, and they can come in to the Ivy, have some kind of drink or whatever, and it's always nice because almost 100% of the time they listen to you. They came and sat for the music to listen to it, so it's nice to have the attention of people while you're playing. Sometimes you don't get that at other places, but that gives an opportunity to kind of show yourself to, like your potential to the people. There's always nice conversations during or after the show with the audience, so it's always really fun with that. But it's just it's a nice venue. It's really nice.
Absolutely. A couple of gigs that stood out to me that you played at last year. One was the 4th of July, and the other was you being part of Music Harbor at the end of the season. You were one of 4 musicians we featured at Music Harbor. 4th of July this past year was one of the busiest days we've ever had, if not the busiest day since I've been there in 4 years. What we did was had you set up ready to play at the conclusion of the parade, which goes right down Main Street past the Ivy Manor Inn. So basically, as soon as that last float came around the corner and disappeared, you kicked into your first song. You hear this music coming from behind you because all the folks are back too from watching this parade. All of a sudden, everybody turns around and sees you playing. Seemed like you were like you were at one of these theaters where they play big music. I used to go down to Mansfield, Mass. I don't know if you've ever seen a show down there, but it felt like you were at the old Tweeter Center. Your thoughts?
Yeah, there was a lot of people that day, and it just like kind of streamed off the street and into Ivy, and there's just a lot of people that day, and it was nice to play for everyone.
Now, was there any part of you that was intimidated by that? Here you are playing live gigs for the first time in your life. You have a street on Main Street that's essentially been closed off. You have every seat occupied at the Ivy Manor Inn. All the open air restaurants around us were full. Once the parade disappeared, cars zipping up and down Main Street. I couldn't even look up. I was so busy at the bar. What was it like on your end?
Um, there's always some kind of nerves at the beginning. After a few songs, though, it kind of goes away, and it kind of just the show goes on. Um, but it's a little nerve wracking playing to so many people, and then kind of being unexpected to start playing. So, but it's also a very like plus thing because you can just get people to come.
Felt like once you got through that gig, there wasn't any gig that should intimidate you moving forward. Music Harbor was very busy as well. We had a double show both on Saturday and Sunday. You did an extended set that day that I think that almost went 2.5 to 3 hours. Did Music Harbor seem like it was a piece of cake after getting through that Fourth of July gig?
Yeah, I think went pretty well. Um, yeah, it was a good show. There always a little bit of a nervousness, but um, yeah, it was easier after, especially the months between and the shows between. It gave me a lot of experience to have more confidence to perform.
For sure. um, I know that you write your own music, and we'll get into that in just a moment. I'm just curious to know when you write a song, what is the process that you go through where you're writing your own song? And typically, how long does it take you to write the song and, that comfort level to be able to perform these songs that you're writing to play them in front of people?
So a song, my process is usually it comes with the song, the lyrics. They come with the music. Usually, I just kind of have some kind of. I just start playing guitar. I kind of hear something. I come up with a word, like a line, and then it comes from there. Especially for the acoustic ones, the more of just me and my guitar. For a looping song, usually it's the music. I have to come up with something cool, like a groove or something that I kind of have faith in. Then usually the words kind of just fit in with it, and then I kind of write it from there. And usually, like, I have to kind of come up with a good chorus that will kind of make me want to write the rest of the song to have it like have me have faith in the song. An acoustic song could I've written them some songs in like a half an hour to 2 hours, the acoustic ones. Um, but a looping song, it's taken me a week, 2 weeks to have it like fully done, and it's also taken me sometimes once the idea is made. I actually still have one song that I haven't played out that's a looping song, but it's from maybe 2 months ago that I had the idea, and it's kind of been somewhat done. Because it's like, first I have to finish the song, and then I have to get it to performance ready. Because whenever you perform a song out, usually it's slightly less than what you performed it in your studio, bedroom, whatever, to perform it to people. It's always a little bit of a nervous thing to kind of put out lyrics um, for people to hear because it's kind of a little part of yourself. So, but
Very, very interesting to say the least. I have a friend in the comedy world. He works as a stand-up comedian. I've talked to other musicians who are also writing songs themselves. Each of these people carry a little notepad and a pen in their back pocket. Sometimes these ideas and inspirations come out of nowhere. I've been told that if you don't write them down, you could potentially lose them. Do you carry pen and paper with you where you go, and do these ideas come to you out of the blue, or are there things that are wherever you are, who you're with, that make you think of these ideas? And do you have to write them down, Takoda, with the fear of losing that idea if you don't?
I do not usually carry some kind of pen and paper. Sometimes I take like a note on my phone. Sometimes, usually I don't. If an idea hits me in a certain moment, either because I like at home sometimes I have like a notepad I can write it down. Um, but there's two sides of my thought is either like writing it down can be helpful, remember it. And then the other part of me is like if I don't remember it, it's not going to be remembered by someone else. So if that doesn't if I don't remember it myself, probably other people won't remember the song and it's probably not going to be the best. So I don't know. I have not. I've thought about it, and I probably should and will do that at some point, but not. I haven't yet. But
Yeah,
yeah.
well, you're still figuring it out. It sounds like you've been playing music, 3 or 4 years. It's incredible how far along you are with playing music for such a short period of time. People ask me all the time, "How old is this kid? Where'd you find him? How is he so good?" And the best explanation that I can give them is that you have a gift, and you are far well advanced for somebody your age. That's for darn sure. I was on your website earlier this morning. I see you already have 22 gigs lined up for the upcoming year. More are surely to come. That doesn't even include anything that you'll do with us at the Ivy Manor Inn in 2025. Two-part question. How many gigs did you play last year, Takoda, which sounded like season or year number one of you really playing paid gigs? And if folks wanted to book you for a gig at one of their venues, how would they go about getting in touch with you?
I have played last year. I played, I believe, if I have the number right, it's I think 51 shows I played. I played on New Year's. I think that was 51st show. Um, if someone wants to book me, they can go to my website, which is just again my name, TakodaDionne.com, and there's towards the bottom of it, there's a little place that you can reach me by through my email, which again is just my name, Takoda Dionne, um, yeah, at gmail.com, whatever. So yeah.
Very, very good. Back to the songs you've written. I've heard several of these songs written and performed at the Ivy Manor Inn. Um, I've jotted down a list of some of these songs of what I've heard you play, and I'd like to ask you about them. Um, Simply put, I'll give you the name of the song, and if you could tell us a little bit about this song and what the song is about, and also the inspiration that it gave you to write this song. First song I have written down is a song called Love Song. Your thoughts?
Love Song is a song that I have that I usually finish my sets with. It is a very repetitive song, as in there's like one section repeated twice. That's like, I don't know. There's different parts, but the end of the song is very large. There's a lot of looping, a lot of layers, and it gets louder and kind of has that end that I kind of want at the end of my show, kind of the kind of biggest part. Um, the song came to be because I first came up with the little kind of lead part of the song. Then the words just kind of came to me while I was listening to music, and the chorus came first. I never thought it was done, actually. I felt like there was verses missing, but I was told that it sounded good, so it has stayed the same. The song is about love, as in the title. It's kind of it's kind of just about like the feeling of just love. It's hard to explain. It it did not have a direct thing in my life at the time that was coming into that song as other songs of mine. But it kind of had ideas and kind of my feelings on it into that song.
It's a cool song to say the least. Um, Now that you said that you typically end your show with that, it certainly strikes a chord with me as well. Next song on my list is called It's Okay. Your thoughts?
This song is for the kind of the sound wise, it was a song that I wrote with a delay on my guitar, so it kind of gave a new feel to it. And I had a lead line that I don't normally put into some of my songs. The song is about kind of the recognition of an ending relationship and the kind of goodbye of that, and kind of the last goodbye, being okay with it, kind of saying we'll move on, whatever, and kind of ending it there.
Hollowed Out.
Hollowed Out. An interesting fact about that one, I think I played it 2 days after I wrote it, for the first time out. So that song is that one. I For the sound wise, I had a flanger on it, which makes my guitar sound a little bit maybe. Oh, what's that band? I'm not thinking of it right now. Whatever. And so that song is about kind of the feeling of being hollowed out and like kind of heartbroken and needing, yeah, just feeling like there's an empty space and feeling like that, just not good, put it that way.
All right. One of my favorites, Train Station.
Yes, so this song I wrote it because there was a guitar that I liked. Then I kind of was like, if I had that guitar, what would I write for a song? And it was just acoustic, and I looped it. No, but no, I'm getting ahead of myself. And I kind of just came up with this song. It came out as a full kind of song, um, about from what I would write as if I had the guitar. I scrapped it, and I did not play it for probably a year and maybe a half, something like that. Then I came back to it. I remembered it somehow. I don't even know. And I decided, because I was getting back into my looper at that point, because I had kind of gone through a phase of doing looping, then went into the grunge phase where I was more acoustic, then went back to looping, and I just kind of put it into my looper and started having that play, and then it turned into probably one of my coolest, maybe, looping songs. But originally it wasn't supposed to be anything, but it was turned into a looping song. That song it has a line in it that changes from the beginning to the end. At first, it's like, um, uh, at first it's like I'm gonna stay in this situation and whatever in this relationship and not leave because a train station, and then at the end it's like, well, I've got to go, and that kind of is the last line, and it's time to move on and whatever.
Very cool. I'm learning a lot about you. That's for darn sure. Where the Flowers.
Where the Flowers Grow. That song is. I barely remember writing that song. I was kind of just in the dark. I remember that, and with my guitar, and then I just kind of came up with this melody line, that I liked a lot. That song is kind of so. We've kind of always had gardens at my house. I think that was probably an inspiration to it. Just being around that. But it's kind of about like showing a person your true self and kind of showing your kind of background of your life and stuff. Um, yeah.
That is very cool. You, for a young man, you are very deep and very well advanced. That's for sure. Um, how many songs have you written, Dakota? And is there any song that I didn't mention that you might want to bring up that might be one of your favorites?
Yeah, I've written I don't have a specific number. I've written a lot of like parts of songs. I've written some songs I've like not played out, or they haven't like I've played them out once, didn't play them again. But for songs that I have played out and they are kind of on my good list, whatever. I have about 11 songs I've played out and are on my good list, and plus the 12th one, which is basically done, but I haven't played it out yet, which kind of the final step. But I have about that many. There is, I think, one of the favorites of a lot of people is a song of mine called Back To. It's got a kind of cool bass part to it, and then it has a tagline of just kind of repeating. So I think a lot of people like it, and it's again about kind of the failed thought that someone loves you back and they don't, and so or
Very, very cool.
wishing.
Very cool. Um, Last one for me. Are there any plans of releasing your own record? Some of the musicians I've had on here so far have certainly done so. Mark Cantor, Griffin Graves, Crying Out Loud, off the top of my head, are all musicians that are Ivy stars like yourself who have written their own record. Any plans to write that record, Dakota? And also, what advice would you give to other young people out there that might want to pursue a career in music? And what advice can you give to them to make those dreams come true, like yourself?
So for the record thing, I have in the past been consistently wanting to do that. I've recorded some kind of more practice things. In the next couple months, I'm hoping to put out a couple songs as a demo thing. They won't probably be the end all of the song. They probably will be done again. I've reached out to a couple music producers in the process of trying to do that. But I'm kind of working on my song list that would become that record. Um, but that is definitely the goal. I'm in the next couple months. Hopefully, you're gonna put on some stuff on Spotify and other streaming platforms. That's the goal, definitely. And then for younger musicians, my advice would probably be make sure that you have like if you can support around you. That's really important. The encouragement of others, and just practice a lot, and kind of believe in yourself to that you can do it, because you never know. And depending on what you want to do with music, if you can perform out and go to an open mic, it gives you a lot of exposure. Because I've gotten a lot of help from anyone I've met at an open mic. The musicians, they've all been really helpful to me. You have, of course, the Ivy Manor, and that has led to opportunities for me. But kind of putting yourself out there is really important if you would like to pursue music. Um, yeah.
Great advice. You certainly had a great first year at the Ivy Manor Inn. If I was going to give out awards, I'd certainly would have named you Rookie of the Year, that's for sure. You had one heck of a first year. You burst onto the scene, if you will. You're getting gigs everywhere. You're expanding your net. I was talking to your parents. Sounds like you're going to pursue other venues around Maine as well. And, you know, if you keep going the way you're going, the venues are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and next thing you know, I might see you on MTV one day. You never know. So I wish you the luck, all the luck in the world. I'm certainly pulling for you. If you need anything from me or the Ivy Manor Inn, we support you 100%. You're certainly one of our stars at the Ivy Manor Inn, and I certainly appreciate all your contributions last year at the Ivy Manor Inn. You made a lot of people happy there, including myself, and I cannot wait until early May when we kick off 2025, because the goal is always to make the next year better than it was the year before. Last year was our best season yet. You were certainly a big part of that, and again, we thank you for that. And I cannot wait to see you play at the Ivy Manor Inn, which is a great venue, as we both have said. But I'm also looking forward to seeing some of these shows you got lined up this winter. I understand you're playing over at Orono Brewing Company this Friday. I caught one of your gigs about a month ago over in Ellsworth at the Black Moon Pub. So, folks, go online, check out his website. This guy is up and down the coast. He's here at the Ivy every other week, if not every week. And he is certainly not a hard musician to find. Takoda, before we let you go, would you be so kind to give us a sample of the music that you like to play and give our listeners who may not have ever heard you play before, and give them a sample of what they can expect at the Ivy Manor Inn and the upcoming season in 2025. Would you be so kind?
Yes. All right. I'm not going to do a looping song because it's kind of technical difficulties of trying to do that on a platform that we're on. So I'm gonna do "Where the Flowers Grow," which is the original song that I wrote. It was mentioned earlier. So yeah. Okay. Right and killed it wrong. What you want me to do now? I've been big for a while now. I don't know just what to do. I always had someone to tell me what to do. I gotta show you all where the flowers grow. The grass is green, but I just don't see the beauty with life, no light. Eyes closed, dark night. That's the life. The world is shaking, almost breaking. It doesn't need more space, it needs your love's embrace. It can't handle the ice breaking. It doesn't have a heart of steel. I gotta show you all where the flowers grow. The grass is green, but I just don't see the beauty with life, no light. Eyes closed, dark's the night. That's the light. Stand beside closed eyes. I got you on my mind. I I gotta show you home where the flowers grow, the grass is green, but I just don't see the beauty with life with no life. Eyes closed, dark tonight, that's the light.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful, amazing, fantastic, awesome. I can't think of enough positive words to say about your style of music, your singing and guitar playing. An amazing signing to the Ivy Manor roster last year. So glad we met. So glad you're a part of our best year yet last year. And so glad that you're going to be part of what we're doing in the future. Folks, this is Ivy star Takoda Dionne. This is Brian Goff, bar manager, Henry Hotels. We are opening May 2nd this year, and I think there's probably a good bet that Takoda will be part of our opening weekend of performance. That is for sure. Takoda, thanks so much for joining the show. It was so great to see you. I hope to see you again this winter. I'm certainly going to make a point of checking out some of your gigs, and I'll see you around town, and I'll certainly see you at one of these shows as well in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Give Mom and Dad my best, and I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Folks, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next Monday. Have a great night. Thank you.